What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Lockstars channel. As you guys know, we had a ban list a couple days ago, and this is just going to be my personal opinions on the impact of the meta and how this ban list impacts the game overall. Right? Let's get into it. So we'll start with the unlimits. Nothing really notable here. I personally like that monkey board's back. Pepe was one of my favorite decks of all time. Um, unlike most people. But even with Monkey Board Bat, we still even have Electromite. Even if we did have Electromite, I don't think Pendulums would be doing much in the meta anyway. So, and then Cyberjar, literally no one cares that it's back. This could be at like 5 and no one would care. The game's way too power crept for him now. And then the dangers, I mean, I don't think it really matters that they're back. It's nice. Maybe you can go for some rank 3 plays. Maybe they can help with goblins. Maybe the half-brained Dark World players are happy about it. I don't know, but it's nothing really. Unlimitless is pretty much always just no one cares. And then moving on to Ryzel. Obviously, we had X, Ice, and Sword go to 2. Big consistency hits. And then Ryzo players, now they have to manage their resources more carefully. I think Desires is way too risky now. Like, you have too much of a chance to banish, like, the resources you need, right? I think they'll probably just replace Desires with, like, 7th Tachyon. Maybe they'll throw in the the Battle and Boxer what I think it's 105, I want to say. Just so they can search for sword rifle, things like that. And then you might have to like bump cross up to 3. At least I think so, because you need that cross to go off. Without that cross, like you're just gonna run out of your rifles like very quickly, and rifles aren't really known for like ending the game that quickly, right? And especially when you lost bonfire and then you lost detonator, and along with detonator, it's way more susceptible to removal, right? Especially with what's it called, Metaltronus. And like once you get rid of that, then you're at least in pure Rizal, your win condition is just literally just gone. Like what are you gonna do after that? Pure Rizal is not gonna be a deck anymore. It's not gonna be a threat unless it becomes I don't know, some type of big, I don't know, like board breaker type deck. But I think at that point you're better off running something like I don't know, Tenpai even. So they would, and to add consistency, you might have to put in Infernal Flame Banshee before going for your duo drive. And then but you are getting Star Riser in Alliance Insight. I don't think it doesn't really add consistency. It might add a little bit of power or a little bit of a grind game, but even after with these hits, I don't think it's at least pure Riser isn't a thing anymore. You're gonna have to throw in more engines like maybe the Sharks, Mitsurugi, and what is it? The Fiendsmith variants. Those are going to be if Rizo is still a thing. Those are going to be the variants that are going to be in the meta. And then moving on to Malice. Me personally, I don't think Malice is. It's not really that different. You did lose Link Decoder, which it makes the deck more vulnerable to disruption, and it's not as easy to link climb. But I think other than that, I think all the plays are basically the same. Maybe you have like a loss in, a slight loss in power, but I think it's easily replaced with Fiendsmith, potentially Math Mech, but I don't think that's real. I think that's just cope. Uh, so I think Malice Fiendsmith is probably the way to go. Maybe he'll put in more Bestials in the form of what's it called? Drake. But other than that, I don't think maybe Malice will be one of the better decks to choose, especially after Alliance Insight, after they get the Cybers and their whatever other support they get. And but other than that, I don't think Malice really changed all that much. And then the for the rest of the semi limits, it doesn't really like black and white dragon. I think that's good. That could potentially be put in Malice if people choose to go that route. In my opinion, those are great for link fodder. And even though you can't use them as like quick effects, especially to disrupt your opponent. But other than that, I guess it's good for Dragon Link. I don't even think you run more than one of each in it anyway. But I think it'd be fun to at least experiment with. And then with the new Dragon Rulers coming out, that could be potentially very powerful. And with the Snake Eyes, I've seen the plays. It's not like at least pure Snake Eyes isn't powerful at all. Like it's dog water. You have to put in the Fire King engine. Or no, actually, this would be the engine in a Fire King deck rather. And without what's it called? The spell card, it's not really worth it. At least for pure Snake Eyes. Shavara, I don't think it really does much. I mean, it's cool for like maybe Ubel decks, and maybe we'll see Unchained decks pop up here and there. They are still a good, consistent deck. It just depends on how they can hold up. And then Morphing Jar, no one cares. No one cares. No one's playing Empty Jar in 2025. So, and then to all the limits, uh, Dimension Shifter, people are glad that at least it's less likely to get hit with it, but it is becoming a more stacky card. And for more anti-meta strategies, or I guess with like Kashtira, it can. I mean, you can put it in. I personally don't think it's worth it. I mean, it's like it's the one of, and you have to use it when you're pretty much. I mean, well, you can put it in going first or going second, but I wouldn't. Masterpiece. Masterpiece and me will forever have beef. I don't think it will have an impact on the metagame at all, but I just don't like that card. I don't like cards that are just like unaffected by things and you can't really stop them. At least with something like Exploring Noir, it can its immunity can turn off if that makes sense. But I don't. Maybe you can put it in like other decks that have continuous traps. There is the Odeon decks, but I don't really think you don't really use continuous traps in a way where you can tribute it for Masterpiece. And then Drill Swarm, we kind of already went over that. Drill Swarm is never a big problem, but I don't think. I think it's just going to be back in the next few ban lists. I think it's only really Magma that's the problem. You can just search any dragon. Drill Swarm was really only used to out Detonator, and now that's at one. So it's just an overall loss for Malice, but I think they'll just replace it with like Drake. And then Circular, stupid card, but it could potentially give a boost to new Cybers, the new Cybers decks with the new Cyber support coming out. But MathMech isn't doing anything anytime soon. And I've seen people try to mix it in with like Ryzel and with what is it? Maybe with Malice and maybe a couple other decks here and there, but it's not really worth it. It's fun to theorize though. Triple Tactics Talent and Crossout Designator, they kind of fall in the same boat because they are like hard counters to your opponent playing against you. Talents is literally a punish, which I really didn't want or I really didn't like about it. I wish it was banned, but I'm happy with that one. Crossout Designator, I'm not really like mad at because it was literally just negate versus your opponent. I mean, I guess you could call it a punish. Not really, at least in my opinion. But I think with these at one, people obviously aren't gonna play around it now. I think there's gonna be an influx in hand traps, especially. With these at one, even with Crossout Designator, people probably run talents more than Crossout Designator because I don't think it's really worth it. I mean, maybe you can just put in just for the potential of you going first. But other than that, It's not really. I don't think it's worth it at all. Brilliant Fusion. I mean, Brilliant Fusion is Brilliant Fusion. I mean, it's cool for Gem Knights. But if you're not playing Gem Knights, then I don't think you really have a reason to play it. I think it might be good in like tournaments if they want to run it because I think Gem Knights do have a monster that requires an aqua. All right, apologies, might cut off, but as I was saying, Brilliant Fusion does have, or Gem Knights do have a monster that that require a it takes an aqua. So I think it might be good at tournaments potentially, but until Brilliant Fusion comes up to two or three or even two, I don't think people are going to be running anytime soon. And then Bonfire is obviously bad for decks like Ryzel, Snake Eyes. I think that's the reason why Snake Eyes, or at least another reason why it won't be seen in the meta anytime soon because you gained two starters, but you lost two other starters, so they're basically back at square one. So there's really no reason to play at least pure Snake Eyes. You can throw it in Fire King if you want, but and depending on your ratios, I don't know. And then detonator, as I said, it's more susceptible to removal, like unicorn, Metaltronus. People probably aren't gonna be running the Ultimate Slayer because we don't. They don't want the player to still have access to it, right? Because they have the one anyway. But other than that, I think that's pretty much all I have for the limits. And then for the bans, I think the biggest one here is Dweller. Um, it's one of those lingering effects, obviously, that no one likes. It's difficult to stop. Me personally, I love Dweller. I think it's great to use against every other deck. I never really understood the hate for it. I mean, I guess I did understand, but no, I liked it, and it's just another thing, another reason why Ryzel won't be as impactful because I think decks like Mermail and what is it Memento are really strong against Ryza and they can push through a lot of their interruptions. And without Dweller, it's gonna be way harder. And obviously, it makes the other decks way stronger. And then Bahamut Shark, uh, Bahamut Shark is, I mean, obviously it's a hit to Mermail. I think Bahamut Shark is just one of those cards where it's just, I guess you can say it's not future proof because the better water monsters that just come out like Toad, it just makes Baja Shark all that more powerful. Um, and I'd rather they just hit Toad, maybe hit Toad to one. But I'm cool with Baja Shark. It's just now that Mermail, they don't have an easy way to get off their what is it called, their dragoons, because Dweller and Shark is gone. I heard they're going to be running cards like Frost Giant, I think it's called, just to just to set it off, right? And then Nightmare Griffin, it's just the lock is gone, or anyone who can make the lock. So I don't really think that's big of a deal. It wasn't really that serious, but obviously no one likes floodgates. Then Link Decoder, obviously, I think Link Decoder is just gonna be back. Um, it's just I don't think it was that big of a deal. It wasn't the problem in Malice. They just didn't want to hit Malice super hard, right? So Link Decoder was just a way to do it, so they can at least make it more prone to interruption, right? But I think Dweller is the biggest loss, among the bands. And then Dodges, Fiendsmith is the big winner. It's the like I can't believe they didn't hit Fiendsmith. Even like I don't think Fiendsmith is necessarily a problem, but now I just think they're just gonna thrive now, especially now that Dweller's gone. Just any Fiendsmith variant just got like that much more powerful, right? And now all the Fiendsmith cards are just shot up in price. Mermail pretty much dodged the ban list, at least in my opinion. I mean, obviously they can't summon Toad anymore, or at least an easy way to summon Toad. But I think they can still push through interruptions. I think they're probably I don't. They just don't have a good end board, right? So I think they'll probably be better going second because I think they can push through a lot of interruptions, depending on what it is. Right, Memento obviously just won the uh YCS Houston, and I think it's going to be one of the big contenders in the new meta because if Memento can manage to win a YCS when Raizo and Malice are at full power, and now that they're significantly weakened, I think Memento is now open to pretty much be a number one contender, right? And all these decks are obviously better now that Dweller's gone, and now that Shifter's gone. These decks are just going to be pushed way up. And also, I didn't put it on here, but I also think Blue Eyes might be at least a tier two contender. At least like Blue Eyes isn't really. I mean, Blue Eyes is good. Obviously, I just don't think it's good as any of these other decks. And then what is it? The Odeon deck. I mean, the Odeon deck isn't really that powerful. You know, Fiendsmith carries it. I would say Fiendsmith carries a lot, or at least like other engines carry it a lot. Like I Odeon needs to be like a secondary engine because all it really puts up is like minimal interruption. It just doesn't have a lot of power behind it. And Fiendsmith and Kashtira and even Blue Eyes, like we saw the YCS Houston, it gives it that power that it really needs, right? But other than that, I think that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Follow us on all our other platforms, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.